Is skateboarding not rebellious anymore? Has it gotten too mainstream, and is that making us all worse? Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel where we talk about every aspect of the skateboarding world. Today I've got a handful of questions. These were all submitted by going to radratvideo.com and using the form there. This one is from Maxwell, who is talking about an NBD. He says that this may have gotten buried, and he asked it before. I don't remember seeing it, but he's talking about this trick. I'm just going to explain it because this is very long. So he's talking about winding up for a backside 360, right? And as you're about to pop, you do a front shove, catch it in the air. So you've spun halfway, the board is spun halfway the opposite way, and you catch it and you finish off the 360. I'll try to do it in a game so you can see what this might look like. So he's talking about fully in the air, no pivot, all that kind of stuff. And is this an NBD, and is it even possible? I think it's definitely possible. Like Stevie used to do that pop shove, you know, catch it and spin it around late front side 180 all the time. I just saw someone, I think it was on Reddit, did one as well, like super high pop shove it, catch it and pull it back around. So the idea of doing a shove it, catching it and it spinning back the way it came, definitely possible. So yeah, doing a front shove, spinning backside, catching it and pulling it back the way, I do think that's definitely possible. He talks about front side, backside, all kinds of stances. I have not seen that. I don't think there's any reason that couldn't be done. It would just be really hard, you know, to spin a full 360 and catch the board halfway through and stay balanced over it, stay centered while you're switching the direction of the board. That'd be very tough, but I do think it's possible. The question is, would it look cool? And I think that's where the problem is, you know. If it's that hard, is it cool enough? Is it going to look good enough to be worth all that effort? Or is it just going to be like the type of thing you can do in a game of skate to instantly get that S, you know? I'm not sure. It could be done, and I think it's possible to do it really cool. I think like over a bank could look pretty cool. I'm not too sure. I don't know. Maybe that one will get out there now that you've put it into the world. All right. Next question is from James, who says, when are sketchy landings acceptable? If it's been answered on Ask Rad Rat, feel free to disregard. Okay, so acceptable to who? You know, I think that's the biggest question. Just looking at my notes here. You are really all that matters. If you've got a sponsor and they're trying to film something for a commercial that they're making, you know, then it matters to them. If it's just you alone, then are you comfortable with what you did? Do you feel good about it? That's really all that matters. Skateboarding doesn't really matter. There's no one looking down on you. There's no like skate gods who are watching and judging you. If you are happy with something, then it's fine. For me, I do think it's important to do things pretty clean because often on the channel I'll talk about some kind of trick, and I have every single clip I've filmed. I've named the clips, you know, just the trick names as completely as possible, so I can just search for something. You know, I search for kickflip 5.0 and I see the clips that come up. And a lot of times I'll be talking about something and I want to show a clip, and I'm just looking at a clip that I did and it's terrible. And like I was fine with it. Like this pressure hard flip is the first thing that comes to mind. There was this line I was trying to do, and like it felt fine in the moment. And when I first saw the clip, I was okay with it. But now it's like, man, that was terrible. That was not good enough. I should have kept going, or I should have made that line easier so I could have done it, or I should have practiced those tricks so that I could have done that line for real. But yeah, if I was still cool with it now, then who cares? You know, it doesn't matter. Nothing really matters. All right. The next question is from Harry, who says, do you believe that Scientology makes you land tricks better? I think it does, man, because the concept of it, I've read a lot of books on this, just for fun. I am in no way involved with Scientology whatsoever. But the idea of it is that you have to confront your demons, which is almost literally what it is. Like, and you think about all the bad things that happened in your life, and you just like beat yourself to death over and over until you don't feel anything anymore when you think about the bad moments. And if you do that for enough time, you eventually become clear, which is what they call it, capital C. And you, I have all these amazing like powers, and you're super intelligent, and you are like the most poised person ever, and you can just do everything. There's no nerves, there's no nothing. And if that was real, then absolutely that would make you a better skater. But the first time that happened, the first time that Scientology announced that there was a clear, I know this is way off topic, it's only on topic because of Aaron Cairo, but this person that they put out as like to the public of like, this is what our techniques are capable of, that person just completely blew it. And it's kind of funny, like if you don't know anything about that, to read those books about Scientology, not Scientology books about Scientology are very, very interesting. And yes, there was a commercial on YouTube with Cairo talking about how Scientology made his skateboarding better. I do not recommend it. Strongly discourage joining any kind of cult. All right. Oh yeah, he had a PS. What happened to all the merch in your store? I only see t-shirts. That's all there ever was. There was t-shirts and patches like this one I put on the hat. You can't buy a hat. Can you even see that? Yeah. There's 2 stores. The first one is my main site, which has my normal shirt that I've worn for like 2 years and those patches, and that's it. And then there's a second store, which is also linked in the description, which has like 9 different types of shirts. Like this one is on there. I made these all recently. I had to buy them all myself because it's like a print on demand type of thing. So I need to sell like 20 more before I even break even on that. I'm deeply in the red on both of these things. So don't expect any more merch for probably ever. I don't see myself doing anymore. All right. The last question of the day is from Mike, who says, Rat, I am an 80s street skater. I got into skateboarding mainly for the fun of it and for the fact that it was very rebellious at the time. Defiance toward a brainwashed society as a whole. The concept was to skate and destroy. Do you think skaters now are just robots that skate just to make money, turning skateboarding into the mainstream that it defied to be in the first place? Interesting question. And another interesting fact is that next week someone is going to have the exact opposite stance, which is kind of interesting. But I think the people that you're talking about still exist. I was at a skate park, and it has a pool, like a traditional type of pool with pool coping and all that type of stuff. And this guy pulls up in this van, an old van with the name of his homemade decks on the like spray painted on the side. The guy gets out of his van and he skates the pool, and he's very good at it, but not not like pro quality, but he's very good. He's doing long grinds along the coping and all this kind of crazy stuff in this pool. Gets back in his van and he goes home. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't know about this guy. So like my point is that you're seeing a lot of the guys who are more focused on being mainstream and making money and doing brand deals with Nike and that type of stuff because they put themselves out there to get in the public eye. The guys you're talking about still exist. You just don't see them as much. Like, I think that's part of it. I think it's definitely true that there's a lot of people who feel the same way as you and still want to do their own thing and express themselves through skateboarding in a way that is against what they think that people would want to hear in society, that type of thing. So I think that's part of it. And a second part of it that I think is kind of interesting is people my age. I am 33. When I graduated college, it was 2008. It was actually 2009. There was a weird thing with my school, but anyway, that was right when the economy was terrible, right? And it was really hard to find a job of any kind. My first job with my college degree, I made $8 an hour. I couldn't even pay off my student loans and gas. I could not possibly have had an apartment or anything like that. Most people I knew were dirt poor. They all lived with their parents still or got a really terrible apartment in a really sketchy place, and a lot of people my age had that same experience where like you get out of college right into the worst, period of jobs and housing market and all this type of stuff. And I think a lot of us learned to monetize everything we do. Look at what I'm doing right now. The reason this channel started was I I wanted to play a bunch of old skateboarding games. That was the first thing that I started to do with this channel. But I needed an excuse to do it, because I needed to be making money doing stuff. It's really scary to just have a job. You have to have a job and a side hustle and a side hustle to your side hustle, because that's the only way you can get by. And so to me, like, if I'm just going to come home from work and play video games, like, I felt guilty doing that. Like, how am I helping? How am I providing for my family here? Like, I'm just being a lazy jerk. And so part of the reason I started the channel was just to like have an excuse to do something that I wanted to do, because I could claim that it's like a business thing, and I could claim stuff on taxes when I buy video games, because now it's a job, and it's hard to make enough to be worth doing. But it's something that I see all the time with people around my age and younger. Just like, if you are good at something, if you like doing something, it needs to be a job. For example, so I have this old Game Boy Advance, and it was broken. It was all like scratched up, and it was in bad shape. And I bought a new screen. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera with all the bright lights here, and it's not even doing anything. Anyway, it works. I've just got a flash card in there. And so I decided I'm going to buy this new screen. I'm going to buy this new shell, new buttons, and I'm going to swap out all the stuff and make the best Game Boy Advance I could have, because this is what came out when I was a kid. I loved it, had a lot of fun times with it. I can play all kinds of stuff on it. So I made it, and then the first thing I think is I should do some more. I should buy like a batch lot of like broken Game Boys and buy a bunch of screens, and I should like try to make this into a side thing, and I could like, learn how to get a little bit better at the internals stuff. I can figure out like cooler buttons that are made out of more exotic materials, and I can try to sell these and start an online store. And I'm like, no, it's okay to just enjoy something. It's okay to just make one because I want to have it and be done with it. It doesn't have to become a business. And the reason I say all that is because I think it's really hard for people of a certain age to get into skateboarding and not care about getting sponsors or getting followers on Instagram or doing anything like that. To just straight up not care about it because you've got a job, you're doing fine, this is just a hobby. I think that is getting more and more rare to be able to do. At least it's something I definitely struggle with. Try to just enjoy things for the sake of enjoying them. I think that's common these days. But the idea of like what the public thinks about what you're doing is a very interesting thing. Because I was having a discussion with someone about scootering, and how right now we all think of scootering, for the most part, as not as cool, right? And like, it's all just kids who do it. They're always getting in the way in the skate park. I've got a big gash on my shin from crashing into a kid on a scooter in a skate park recently. Like, that's what we think of right now. But what about 10 years from now, or 20? Maybe skateboarding is more of an old man thing at that point, and all the cool kids or all the cool adults at that point are doing scooter tricks. And now, like, how does the way the public perceives what you're doing affect what you're doing and why you do it? Are you going to stop skating because scootering is a cool thing now and people look at you weird when you show up at a skate park with a skateboard? Maybe. I mean, not you because of your question. You don't care about that kind of thing. But, at some point, the way the public perceives what you're doing is going to affect what you do and why you do it and when and how you do it. So I don't know. I don't know if that answered your question, but I think it is an interesting topic of like just why we do what we do and why skateboarding attracts different people, and if skateboarding would attract a different type of person if it was different. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. I hope you got something out of that. And if you have your own question, go to radratvideo.com and submit it through the website there. It goes right into my inbox, all nice and tagged, so I know how to look them up later. And if you love the channel, you can hit the join button, which helps me out a bit. You can sponsor me on Patreon, which I would appreciate. and you can submit your own questions. You can you can subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And I will see you next time. Here's some stuff that you can check out. In the meantime, I'll see you later.